Hey, what's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to another video here on the channel, and in today's video I have the brand new Comet Retro Custom. So this vehicle came out with the Christmas DLC 2016 earlier today, and I couldn't get a video out to you guys. Sorry, I was busy, and I'm sorry about that once again. But as all the cars that have been coming with this DLC, this one is also very, very nice. So as you guys can see, I have this really cool paint job on it. And you know, in general, this car just looks absolutely amazing. And before you upgrade it at Benny's, this is the stock Comet, so it costs $100,000 to buy, and you can I think you can just buy it off Legendary Motorsport. And I believe after you buy it, to customize it over at Benny's, you need to upgrade the vehicle. And I believe upgrading the vehicle to be customizable at Benny's costs around $600,000. And as you guys can see, it's only $100,000 to buy. And if you already have one, well, good for you. You can just go customize it. You can go upgrade it for just $600,000. Now, I know it's not a very, low price, but it's definitely worth it. And if you do have the Comet and you believe it deserves a little bit of a little more customization like I did, then this car is definitely for you. One cool thing about the car is that the engine is actually at the back. So to close the hood, you actually have to go to it actually closes the back, so it does take some getting used to, because the trunk is actually in the front of this vehicle. So I'm gonna close all the doors. Let me show you guys the interior of this vehicle. Oh my god. I don't know how to use the remote functions on the vehicle. Alright, so I think I go to none. Yeah, alright. So it looks like I don't know how to use a remote function. Alright, so as you guys can see, I have the fully upgraded interior. Now, I didn't get the carbon interior. I just got the one with all the gauges, and it looks really cool. You can actually change the color of the gauges, and you can actually put you guys see where that main intercom is. You can actually put a bunch of dials there if you want, and I believe that costs like $20,000. But I am gonna take it over to Benny's right now to show you guys the customization you can have on this vehicle. And I just thought it'd be good to drive over there so you guys get an overview of what this car kind of handles like in the snow. So I mean, it is snowing, so the handling might be a little off, but this vehicle seems to be doing very nicely even in the snow. I think let's try to drift through this. And oh, I actually pulled off a pretty nice turn right there. Oh, can we pull the drift? Nope. Oh my god, we would have completed that if that car wasn't there. But it's kind of slow when it comes to turning. Like, it's kind of like a heavy vehicle, but in general, it is a pretty nice vehicle. It does speed up very quickly. And yeah, so let's see how fast it can actually go. I believe if it goes over 120, yeah, it's one of the faster vehicles in the game. So that's a nice thing. It's one of the faster vehicles in the game, and I'm not sure what category this falls into. And I think it falls into the sports category, and I think it might. Yeah, I think it remains a sports car even after customization. I'm not too sure about that. If you could let me know down in the comments, that would be pretty nice. So yeah, let's customize. Let me show you the customization you can add in Benny's. Okay, so this will be a little long because there's many different customizations you can have on this vehicle. So let's repair the car. There was a bit of snow on there, and as you guys can see, this car looks absolutely amazing. So, max armor, max brakes. For the bumper, the front bumper, I have the secondary color bumper. But to show you guys all of the bumpers, there's lots of different options. I actually don't know the difference between these two, the street bumper and the secondary street bumper. But moving on, as you guys can see, many different, you can have customizations. I believe the secondary just changes the color to the secondary. But I believe my secondary is white on this vehicle, so you really can't tell. And these are all of the different bumpers you can have. You can have some carbon bumpers too, I believe. And I think that, yeah, that covers all of the bumpers for this vehicle. And all of them look pretty nice. It just depends on your taste. Alright, so to begin with, you have your stock rear bumper. You have a small diffuser over there. And then you have your secondary color and a small diffuser. And then you have your large diffuser. And then you have your secondary and large diffuser. Now, keep in mind, these upgrades are very expensive. Make sure you do pay attention to the price before, upgrading anything. Okay, now this is very stupid. If you go to the engine, there's something called the Strut Brace. And what this is, it's basically like a bar that goes above the trunk. And really, I wouldn't recommend upgrading this at all, because there's really no point of this unless you are gonna go to car shows and stuff. But if you're just gonna keep this car to yourself and really not show it off too much, I wouldn't really recommend upgrading the interior, because they can cost upwards up to $23,000. So moving on to engine tunes, you can just upgrade the engine as always, max upgrade. So for the exhaust, you have 5 options. You have your stock exhaust. You have your chrome tip exhaust, you have your titanium tuner, big bore, and Shakotan. I guess that's how you pronounce it. And they're all pretty cool. It's really up to your taste. I have the big bore exhaust. So I don't know why you would want to put explosives, but there they are. For fenders, there's a lot of different fenders. So let me move over to the side to show you guys. So you have your stock fender. You have your vented arches, which just add like some vents to the front of fender. And moving on, you have your secondary color, you have your secondary vents, carbon vents, secondary and carbon vents, full carbon arches, carbon and primary, and carbon and secondary. Now, I wouldn't recommend carbon unless you have like some black on your vehicle already. But I mean, it kind of just throws the color off of the vehicle. But I guess on the fenders, it does look somewhat nice. But I don't prefer carbon anymore on vehicles. But it's really up to you. Moving on to hood, you have a bunch of hood accessories. You can add pins to your hood, and what these basically do is I believe they actually increase the strength of your hood, so it's less likely to fly off. So the more, I believe if you do put the pins, it does make the vehicle hood a little bit stronger. Moving on to the hood, we have the stock hood, the large grill hood, the secondary large grill, the carbon large grill, the street hood, secondary street, carbon street, ducted hood, secondary ducted hood, and carbon ducted hood. As always, really I wouldn't recommend these last 3, the ducted hoods, because they kind of just look a little weird. But it's really up to you, it's your preference. But I wouldn't really recommend carbon. I've explained this in my previous videos. It just throws the color off the whole vehicle. And yeah, so unless you have like a black theme on your vehicle, I really wouldn't recommend going with the the carbon hoods. Alright, so moving on, you have your horn. Nothing too special here. And then moving on to interior. Now this is where stuff gets interesting. You can change the you can add a sun strip. I didn't add one. I don't really like that there. It kind of limits your view too, so I keep it to stock trim. But those are the different sun strips you can have. Moving on to trim color, it's just a little bit on the sides. You can change the trim. I just have it set to red. And then moving on to dash, you have, as I mentioned before, you can change the intercom, or whatever it's called. I can't get the word in my head right now, but whatever that thing is called. And you can, just put a bunch of switches there to make it look more like a tuner vehicle or a dragster. In that case, your nitros and whatnot. Moving on, you have your dials. There's a lot of different dials. Wait, did I? Yeah, so let me show you guys all of the different dash options. So you have your street interior, your semi-stripped, race dash and stripped, flocked dash and stripped, and carbon dash and stripped. Keep in mind, these are very expensive. The cheapest one is only $27,000. It's only $27,000, but it is pretty expensive. Moving on to dials, you have many different types of dials. You have your stock dials, which aren't that exciting or anything. Then you have your pod mounted taco. I don't know how to say that. I'm pretty sure I messed that up. As you guys can see, there's actually a boost meter. I mean a boost gauge, and it's just like jumping around right now. It's just like vibrating. I don't know what's the meaning of that. But moving on, you have the pod taco, and I really don't know how to say that in dash gauges. Then you have your race display, which I really like. You have your race display in gauges. You have your Mk3 Race Display, and then you have this one again, and you have the Mk3 Race Display, and then this one, which is my personal favorite. Now, I believe all of the ones with the race display, they actually put like what do you call it? They actually put some gauges on the side over there, so that's pretty cool too. I have the max version of this, and I believe that one costs around $23,000. So yeah, moving on to doors, you can actually have a lot of different door options. You have your aluminum panel, carbon panel, secondary color, primary color, aluminum race, and carbon race. and they all look really nice. It's just up to you. Moving on to seats. Now, I wouldn't recommend upgrading the seats. It's just an added price to the vehicle. Mainly because no one really pays attention to the seats in your vehicle unless you are going to a car show. But yeah, these are all of your different seat options. I believe the really good ones are the ballistic fiber ones. Those ones look the best, or the bucket seats. But it's really up to you. It's your preference. I didn't change them just to save a little bit of money because really no one pays attention. Your steering wheel, again, you can add a lot of different options for your steering wheel. And, you know, they all look pretty nice. And I think the most expensive one is only $21,000. You know what? Why not buy it right now? Moving on, you can actually change the color of your gauges, as I mentioned earlier. And you can have a lot of different colors for it. I don't think you can add brown or anything like that. Actually, you can have brown. I would recommend going with a bright color so it's easier to see the thing, the actual you know, speedometer. And I think hot pink is a little bit better, but it's really up to you. Moving on to roll cage, you can have different types of. You can have your non-street half, just the back half of the vehicle, the dash dodger, padded dash dodger, which is a little bit more realistic because if you do hit your head on those, I'm pretty sure you would survive. You have your full roll cage and you have your padded full roll cage. Just to show you guys what those look like from the outside of the vehicle. There they are right there. Right now I just have the dash dodger cage. Alright, moving on. We have your lights, you know, nothing too special going on. Moving on to liveries now. I'm going to go over to none. So this is your basic, right? Moving on, you have your globe oil, fruit performance. Just to show you guys these over again. Then you have the fruit performance. You have your Wee Wang, which I believe is a parody of Samsung, but no, I think that's Tension. But moving on, you have your retro racer, which is also pretty nice. It adds a lot of you know, decals to your vehicle. This is the one I like, Mean Mact. I think that's how you pronounce it, but I'm not too sure. It just adds a little nice white like, you know, theme to the vehicle. Moving on, you have your auto exotic, which is also a very nice, you know, what do you call it, livery. And then moving on to Tension, which I believe is a parody of Samsung in the game. And as you guys can see, it looks pretty nice. You know, you have a little advert on your spoiler to globe oil. Moving on, you have Zero gas, I'm not sure, but it adds a nice ultra blue to the front part of your vehicle. And then, you know, yeah, it actually looks pretty nice. Moving on, you have your 80s gamer, which is the final one, and it just adds, you know, a very retro game feel to your vehicle. And this is a retro vehicle, so yeah, it just reminds you of an arcade game, really, when you look at this. So yeah, moving on, you know, you have your insurance and then respray. So what I have on this vehicle is a metallic bright purple as my primary. Primary is a bright purple, but just to show you guys all the colors on this vehicle, all of them right here in front of you, and all of them look actually pretty nice except for brown. I believe that one doesn't look that amazing. My pearlescent is a bright orange, which it just adds a nice shine to the vehicle. There's many different types you can have, but my personal favorite is the orange because it's more you know, visible, and it just adds a nice luster to your vehicle. Moving on to secondary, I just have a orange. You can really have anything you want. This is what the secondary color affects in your vehicle. And white actually looks pretty nice too, but I think I'm gonna stick to the orange. And the black with a pearlescent orange also looks pretty good, but I believe those are all of the secondary colors. Red doesn't look that bad either, actually, and it's really up to you at the end of the day. It's really up to you. Trim color, I've showed this before. It's also here in the respray. You can add your crew emblem right there. Mine is right there, FBI. Moving on, selling this vehicle. So that's how much I spent just to be able to upgrade this vehicle. I'm definitely not selling this. Alright, so you have a lot of skirts options. So you have your stock skirts, full primary, full secondary, full carbon insert, secondary with carbon, secondary with primary, primary with secondary, carbon with primary, and carbon with secondary. So they all look pretty nice, and I think I have the primary with secondary. And guys, don't just pay attention to the color and the title of the mod. Actually pay attention to the price of the mod, so you know how much you're paying, because I can't tell you how many times I've just pressed, you know, like put an upgrade on my car, and then I realized how expensive it is like 2 minutes later. So yeah, you have your spoilers, which right now this is none, color coded, which I believe is your secondary color. You have your drift wing, which I have. You have your tuner wing, which is a much lower drift wing. You have your high level spoiler, carbon wing type 2, high level GT wing, and extreme downforce BGW. I just call it BWD. So moving on to suspension, I just have, you know, lowest suspension. I did want to make it look like a tuner vehicle. Moving on to transmission, fully upgraded, turbo, fully upgraded. For the wheels, I have tuner wheels just to stick with the tuner, you know, the tuner, what do you call it, theme. So I have the Rollas, I think that's what you call it, but yeah, I just have the orange just to stick to the theme of the orange on the vehicle. And then moving on, you know, just your wheel color, tires, you know, just have different bulletproof tire smoke, tire design, and last but not least, blacked out windows. So yeah, this is actually a pretty nice car in general. And yeah, I think that covers all of the customization in this vehicle, and wow, it is daytime right now. So yeah, this vehicle looks very, very nice out in the snow. The snow really gives it a... The snow is actually really shiny right now. Alright, so I wonder what time of day it is. Alright, so it's 8 in the morning right now. And yeah, it does slip and slide, and I believe that is due to the snow. I think this would be a good drifter vehicle to drift in. Let's just try to pull a little drift here. That wasn't actually a drift. It was just a little slidey turn, you could call it, I guess. So, yeah, I think that basically covers that basically wraps up this whole video. So I guess, yeah, so, yeah, thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.